to the Authentic Health Coaching Show. My name is Tom Corson-Knowles, founder of Authentic Health Coaching, and we want to thank you so much for subscribing to our show on iTunes. So, as our gift to you, we'd like to offer Dr. Corson's top 5 nutrition tips. It is the #1 guide to taking your health to the next level, and you can get your free copy at AuthenticHealthCoach.com. Now, today on the show, we have an incredible guest for you, Dr. Chrys Ghiraldini. And Dr. Chrys has been a chiropractor for over 11 years, and recently, in 2008, she suffered a severe head-on collision car accident, and afterwards she experienced post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD as it's commonly called, and she had persistent suicidal tendencies, as she says. And, you know, it's a very traumatic experience for anyone to go through in life, and so she was looking for alternative ways that she could get better and to get rid of that chronic stress that she was having in her life and just live a happier life. And so she stumbled upon EFT, emotional freedom technique, which we've talked about before, and then she went on to use that with patients and then found something called Faster EFT, which works even quicker, a more simpler way of applying it in her life. And so now she uses Faster EFT exclusively with her patients, and she's found it's an incredible way to just get rid of the stress from everything from major traumas and major stresses to very simple things like, you know, getting in a traffic accident or having an argument with someone at work. So it's a really incredible way to just de-stress and to start getting back on that path of joy and happiness and prosperity that you really want in your life. So enjoy the show today, take great notes, and make it an incredible day. Chrys, thank you so much for being with us today on the Authentic Health Coaching Show. Let's talk a little bit more about your background and what got you interested in stress relief and stress reduction.
Okay, thank you for having me, Tom. Well, I'm a chiropractor, and of course, being a chiropractor, I saw a lot of people with persistent back pain or persistent headaches. And even though I did everything that I could for them on a physical level and also on a nutritional level, I did not see 100% results all the time. And I was curious about that. And I have been doing research on the emotional aspects of pain ever since I was in chiropractic college. So this is a long time ago. And I knew that that was the way to address it. I just felt it with every cell in my being that there was something much deeper to pain and poor functioning of the body that was associated with emotions. And then I started using different methods. I did NET for a long time, neuro-emotional technique, with great results. And then I kept looking for more things, because if you are familiar with NET, you have to be in the same room with the person to do it, because it's based on applied kinesiology. And I thought, if everything in the world is energy, wouldn't there be a way for me to work with someone that's not currently in my physical environment? There has to be. So I kept searching for different things, and I came across EFT, emotional freedom technique. Again, had phenomenal results with it. Started using it for a lot of my patients. And what I realized is that stress is really the underlying cause of all of our problems. Poor digestion, poor sleeping patterns, lack of energy, name it, you know. You will find that stress is always underneath it. On the surface, it looks different for different people. As I said, it could be insomnia, it could be lack of appetite, it could be lack of energy, which of course influences how one's productivity goes in the world, and zest for life, you know. So I just kept digging deeper and deeper, and I started asking patients, would you like to try something different and see how it works for you? And they were blown away by the results. I have some incredible stories with both NET and EFT, and now I am going into a different direction, slightly different, with Faster EFT, which I find more aligned with my own philosophical principles. So that's basically the summary of how I got into this field.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, and you talked about, as a chiropractor, you were seeing patients and you would treat them and not all of them would get better. Well, how does, something like pain or, symptoms that you were treating in chiropractic, how does stress relate to that?
Well, as you know, stress releases cortisol in our bodies, the fight or flight hormone, also called the death hormone, because sustained levels of stress trigger a loop of cortisol dumping in the body, which stresses out the adrenals and burns them out, and then you can't sleep no matter how tired you are, because you don't have the hormone that counteracts cortisol, and you also don't have the downtime. Cortisol used to come in place when we were facing beasts in the world. We haven't faced beasts in quite a while, and yet we still have that sensation that something out there is about to get us. So it could look as work performance review. It could look like lack of money to pay bills, or whatever it is that one perceives as a threat continues the cycle of cortisol in the body. And cortisol, of course, will dump sugar around the waistline and all kinds of crazy things. It will start eating muscles for their reserves of sugar, and it just creates a very, very powerful inflammatory response in the body. And the inflammatory response is the one that creates pain. So for people who have a tendency to have headaches, they will have more headaches. If they have back pain, they will have more back pain. The inflammatory response will trigger pain in the person's weak point. And that's what I kept seeing. It's like, I am doing everything right, and somehow the person is not getting better, so what's behind it, right? So then we would address emotions, and I was like, wow. And then their pain would go away like instantly. It's like, whoa, this is incredible.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so what I hear you saying is that when we're talking about stress, what we're really talking about is inflammation and hormone imbalance.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And so how does the techniques that you use, how do they help, rebalance your hormones and your inflammation?
Well, that's the interesting thing about it, Tom, because if you go with the emotional freedom technique traditional route, which says that stress is a disruption of energy in the body, then you can say you are rebalancing the energy along the meridians. If you go with the Faster EFT route, which states that everything is a creation, what you are doing is introducing a disruption in the pattern that creates the problem. So when that interruption takes place, the problem disappears. So it just depends on which philosophy you align yourself with.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So what you're saying is that we're basically creating our own stress through, our thoughts that we think or our feelings that we're having, and that basically by just disrupting those thoughts or those patterns, you can get rid of the stress.
Absolutely. Because our thoughts, of course, are generated in our nervous system, and they create emotions in the body. And these emotions, through the nervous system, go into the organs and into the meridians, of course. So if you interrupt this cycle, you are getting rid of the stress. And I am super excited with all of these new discoveries. I love both of them, EFT and Faster EFT, both use tapping, but as you see, the philosophy behind them is different.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So what is the difference in application between the two?
Well, with Faster EFT, you just have one sentence that undoes the programmed thinking patterns, and that is I release and let go. And that creates the interruption needed along the nervous pathways or neural pathways in your body that create the same result for you. With EFT, you are addressing different emotions. So if you have a specific event and you have anger or hurt or fear about that, you address each emotion separately regarding this event. With Faster EFT, you are still addressing the emotions, but you have the same statement for all of them. I release and let go. Mm-hmm. It changes with EFT.
Gotcha. So Faster EFT is really just a much simpler way to do it.
Simpler, more effective, and of course faster. Mm-hmm. Therefore, the name.
Right. And so, tell us how do you apply this in your own life?
Oh, with everything. Ever since I discovered EFT, I haven't stopped tapping. I tap every day for everything. If something stresses me out, if something is making me aggravated or frustrated or angry, I tap. Because I know for myself that the more stressed I am, the unhealthier I become. Plus, it affects relationships. If you don't take control of your emotions, the tendency is to dump them out on your siblings, parents, spouse. It doesn't work. Nobody is responsible for your emotions. It's your own response to the event, right? So it's unproductive from my perspective. I mean, if you find that this is productive for you, please, by all means, but I haven't seen any concrete example of that yet.
Gotcha. So what it really sounds to me like is it's basically affirmation that you're telling yourself, I release and let go, or, with regular EFT you're doing some kind of other affirmations. And so what does that physical tapping component have to do with it?
Well, the tapping creates a harmonious environment in the body. Everything in the universe, as I said, is energy, and energy vibrates at different frequencies. So by tapping, you align your body's frequency with the frequency of something that you prefer, which in general is a stress-free kind of environment. Mm-hmm. That's what the tapping does.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So you're really just keeping your energy, at the level that you want it to be, rather than just letting your environment dictate it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's the only thing we have control over, and that is how we think and how we react. And if we continue to do it from a pre-programmed point of view, we will have always the same results. So if we want to achieve different results, we have to change the programming behind it.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So tell us a little bit more about Faster EFT. I mean, how exactly do you use it? Where are you tapping on your body? And, what kind of things do you use it for throughout the day?
Same thing. I use Faster EFT for everything. Actually, I use Faster EFT more often just because it's a simpler circuit. You just tap on a few points around the eyes, on the collarbone, and around the wrist. And then if I find myself beginning to get annoyed with something or frustrated or discouraged, which is a really common emotion, especially living in New York City, because we work so hard here. I mean, people work hard everywhere, but New York City is a very, very intense city to live in. And many times it just feels like, I'm not making any progress. Why am I beating myself, or my head against the wall or something? That creates a feeling of discouragement. The minute that feeling starts to bubble up, I do my Faster EFT and I release and let go, I release and let go, I release and let go. And that balances me immediately. And I'm like, oh, okay, I literally can release this feeling. It works like magic.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, tell us about some of the clients that you've worked with and what have they used Faster EFT for and how has it helped them?
Oh, I could give you a laundry list, really. I have worked with depression, I have worked with anorexia, with amazing results. The anorexia lady, we had done 2 sessions prior to the one that really resolved it for her. And I work for weight issues, which is the next thing that I'm working on right now. I have worked for insomnia with great results. And of course for pain.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, Chrys, thank you so much for sharing with us today. That's just been awesome information you shared, and I love how simple you keep it, especially with the Faster EFT. And I think that a lot of people can just apply that and really reduce their stress because it is, like you said, such a huge problem today.
Yeah, not to mention that the minute you get stressed out, your immune system is shot.
Mm-hmm.
And without your immune system, you can't function, right?
Exactly.
And that's why, for me, this is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Yeah, so tell us where people can learn more about you and the work that you do.
They can find me at easystresssolutions.com. And I am in New York, so I am on Eastern Time, and all the information to access me is on my website. You can email me at info@easystresssolutions.com, but you can find a whole bunch of things on my site.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you, Chrys.
Thank you, Tom. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Hey there, it's Tom Corson-Knowles again. Hope you enjoyed the show today with Dr. Chrys Ghiraldini on Faster EFT and getting rid of the stress in your life. We'd love to hear how you enjoyed the show today, so please give us a review on iTunes so we can get that feedback from you. And come join us in the community of like-minded people who are passionate about health and wellness at AuthenticHealthCoach.com. We're wishing you an incredible day. Take care.